Hey, ladies. So, ladies, when I was looking at my notes, okay, y'all, it came out to what, 10 pages? And this is the thing. I said I was going to ask you guys early. Like, let me see what they want. Okay? Cuz it's up to you. I got a little time. I can go in. Okay? I'm not sure yet where I'm going to keep this live stream. I don't think I'm going to keep it up on YouTube. I am recording on my Osmo here. I'm thinking that the replay will go to my email list. So, just as an FYI, I want to be clear. It may go to my email list. Okay. So, if you're popping in and out, you may miss something. Do note, if you're popping in and out, you may miss something because I have so much to go through with you. Okay. So, another thing, let me know in the chat right now. I can see it. Let me know how deep you want me to go. How deep do you want me to go into this book? Because I can. Okay. I have not seen a YouTube breakdown of this book just yet. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't any. I could have definitely missed some. The last time I looked to see if there was a breakdown on YouTube of this book, I think it was Thursday or Friday, and I didn't see anything. So this might be the first one. So I am prepared to go deep. Okay, go deep. Okay. Okay. All right, y'all. I have notes. I have some things for you inside of the book. Sometimes I'll be looking to my right. I have my Osmo here because I want a really crisp, video. Go deep. Confession. I think the book is great so far, and I know very little about her before starting, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that because we're going to talk about that, okay? So first, if there's anyone new here, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have a lot of notes, okay? I have a lot of notes. I will be going back and forth through my iPad, and y'all should see my little setup here. I have so many notes, okay? So between the two, we're just going to be going back and forth. It's almost going to be like I'm teaching a class, okay? All right. So first, where is everyone from? Let me know in the chat. And then second, after you let us know where you're from, tell us what your business is. Where are you from? What's your business? Where are you from? What's your business? Put that in the chat first. Where are you from and what's your business? Getting my hair done. I'm here for it. Right? I had the longest hair dryer session yesterday. I was just at some point like, I think I'm just going to go to bed with it kind of wet because I'm tired. Where are you from? What's your business? Where are you from? What's your business? New York accounting. That's Michelle. LA City of Angels real estate broker agent investor. That's Leah. Houston interior design. Oh, hi, Miss Phyllis. Krista. Toronto, I build and optimize sales funnels. Krista Jennings. Houston Lifestyle Management Services. Hi, Miss Pat. Houston Nurse Coach. Kenyatta, I don't know you. You're here. Tamora. I say with this book, you must take all the meat, right? Take all the meat and toss the bones. April in Michigan, small and mid-size HR consulting. Oh, well, thank you. That's Tatia. If this is anything like the clips or Don Lemon debriefs, we're here for Tatia. My husband said, "Are you doing a case study? Are you being paid for this?" And I said, "No, I'm feeding my community. And Everything is long-term content because sometimes it can be hard to tell the difference between who you're following. Now, most of you guys who have commented in the chat, you're not new. You know me. You know I'm deep. You know my depth. You know what I do. You know how I teach. But there might be some new people. And sometimes you got to go on ahead and show how you got a 3.9 in grad school and how you know how to break down something. Okay. All right, so for anybody who's brand new, I'm Christy Muhammad. I'm a global business strategist and consultant. I've been in business for 23 years, and Women CEO Project has been 15 and a half, almost 16 of them. I'll make 16 years with Women CEO Project August 30th of this year. Okay. I have spent 20 of those years with no job. I hit 20 years. It's been 20 years since I got my last paycheck from someone else. Okay. I have no safety net. Everything is about what I create with my brain. That's why I related to some of the things in the book, because I had to figure out how to make money with my brain or go get a job. Right. I have coached women from 0 to 40K, 50K months, and even 7-figure years. Okay. I've done events in Ghana, London, Morocco, South Africa 5 times, all over the world. Okay. My business has impacted over 300,000 plus women entrepreneurs. Okay. I run Women CEO Project, the page that you are on. Been running it for, like I said, almost 16 years. And I say all of that because as I break this book down, I want you to understand I'm not doing it as a fan. I'm a fan of very few people, very few. Okay. However, I can learn something from almost anybody. And that's what we need to start with. I can learn something from almost anybody. I am breaking down this book as someone who has lived some of the principles and the things that Emma is talking about in the book. Okay. Now, I am relating this book breakdown to a very specific group: current and aspiring coaches, business women, service professionals. There are a lot of different ways that you can take the book. I am not even touching on career. I'm not a corporate girly. I've only had 2 corporate jobs for a very, in the big scheme of things, a very short period of time that I had a corporate job. If we're counting the bank and Reliant, and I'm going to only count the bank that I worked at in Houston because I was in financial sales. So that bank and a marketing manager at Reliant, I've had a job for 2 years and 7 months, a corporate job. So I'm not touching career. I'm touching strictly the entrepreneurial side. Okay. So don't say, okay, Christy, we could have covered this, we could have covered that. Yes, we could have. I have a focus. Okay. Now, before we get into the book, if you want to take a screenshot, we are talking about Start With Yourself. Start With Yourself by Emma Grede. Okay. Now, who is Emma Grede? She is the co-founder and CEO of Good American. I have some Good American jeans. I have a couple of Good American pieces that I bought way back. And they're really stretchy. And supposedly, starting that brand with Chloe is because Chloe was curvy and tall, and it was to fit, a curvy body. Another thing, she is the founding partner of Skims. We all know what Skims is. She is the co-founder of Safely and Off Season. So she has multiple brands. When Kevin saw me doing this deep dive, he started Googling her. What was it, like Thursday, Friday? He was like, who is this woman you sitting here feverishly, typing? And so he even told me 2 brands that I didn't know about that she owned. Okay. She's the chairwoman of the 15% Pledge. I'm forgetting the name of the other lady who is the founder of the 15. Is it Aurora? I think Aurora James. I hope I'm saying that correctly. She's a board member of the Obama Foundation. Okay. And they say she had to earn that. She had to earn it. Okay. She grew up working class in East London. Now, I had seen enough on her podcast to know that she was from around the way. Michelle asked me earlier if there were any surprises for me in the book. I would say the only thing that was kind of like, oh, okay, girl, is how round away she was from. Okay, it was right, Aurora James. Okay. Aurora. Okay. That was a little surprising. I didn't know she was from around the way like that. Okay. But then when she started talking about, her family and different things that they had to do and such, I was like, okay. Nothing else shocked me in the book. Nothing else. Okay. She is one of America's wealthiest self-made women, not by inheritance, not by marriage. I debated if I was even going to go in that because I did do a deep dive because I wanted to know. And I wanted to point something out that married women get like a bad rap about, including myself. And it's annoying as heck when you work as hard as you do, but we'll get to that later. Okay. Let's start with a running theme in the book. Okay. A running theme in the book is something called old thoughts. Okay. Running theme in the book is something called old thoughts. And if you go to page 45, that's where she starts with the old thoughts. Okay. In several places throughout the book, she talks about this is the old thought. And here are some new thoughts to counter that old thought. Okay. So we're going to refer back to old thoughts all throughout the book. Everybody with me? We're going to refer back and forth to old thoughts regularly. Okay. I want to go through with you 6 old thoughts that stood out to me. Okay. Now, remember, ladies, for anybody who's just popping in, I have a lot to cover with this book review, and I'm not saving this live. That's what I was about to say. So you might want to take some notes. This is one of those times where you need to take notes. Plus, there are going to be so many things that stick out to you and directly have to do with your industry, your business, maybe where you are in business. So you definitely need to take notes. If you need to grab your notebook, let me give you 2 seconds. Go grab your notebook. I'm going to take a swig of water. Go grab your notebook, and then we will dig right on in, okay? While you are grabbing your notebook, let me say thank you for all of you who popped in. Was my threat sufficient? I did say if y'all don't come, I'm not doing these book breakdowns. They take a lot of work. So my threat worked. But seriously, y'all, thank you for popping in and spending time with me. So does everybody have their notebook? Let me know in the chat when you have your notebook, because I don't want you to miss anything. Let me know if you have your notebook. Y'all should see how beautiful this looks on the Osmo. So I can see on my phone how it's being recorded on my Osmo. My Osmo camera is right here, but you can what is the word? I can control the whole Osmo on my phone. Okay. And so I can see how the camera looks. I can change, like, oh, I don't like the way it looks. Let's turn it this way. I have it following my face right now. Okay, guys, let's get ready. So everybody has their notebook. Okay. So I'm going through 6 old thoughts that stood out to me. Okay. The first is the old thought is money is not a goal, it is a result. Okay. The belief that wanting money directly is greedy or shallow. And we're going to go into this a little bit deeper because I have had so much experience with women having this old thought. Okay. She makes a point to say the new thought is profit is the point. And that stuck out to me because right now, I've told you guys on Instagram that we bought a franchise. And no sooner than I told you we bought a franchise, we bought two. Now my husband's working on number 3. And in the deciding about buying the franchise, the focus was the profit. It literally was like, oh, okay, so if we have this many and this many employees, this is what our profit could be. And at this point, the franchise is probably going to sell off. So then we'll have an exit strategy. So the focus has been the profit in the building of it. And a lot of women do not start with that. We think it's something wrong with it. I'm going to go deeper into that. Old thought number 2. If I'm working hard, the money will come. Lies from the pits of hell. Lies from the pits of hell. Yes, you need to work hard. Yes, you need to work hard. But what I have learned being in business 23 years is more than just working hard. You have to be so intentional. You have to be so intentional. Let me pull up an extra thought that I wanted to point out right here. One of the things that I find when I'm talking to clients is that a lot of people don't have a plan. You had hard work for sure. You had some hard work, girl, but you had no plan. When I start to dig a little bit on why did you do X? Why did you go to that conference? Why did you pay for that course? Why did you hire that coach? Why did you do XYZ? There was no plan. You thought that if you just went, right, that some miracles would happen. And the thing is, the first part of the miracles happening is to go. But now, once you're about to spend the money, what's the plan? It is okay if a plan changes. It is okay if a plan doesn't work, but did you have a plan? That's the most important part. Are you ladies understanding me? So many times when I go through, okay, why did we do X? Did you read the contract? Why did you work with them? What was the plan with this? What was the goal? Do you guys know I had 2 plans, 2 goals for going to Canva Create in California? Only 2. I said, if these 2 things succeed, it will be worth me leaving home, flying on a plane. I stayed in an expensive hotel. My God. I'm forgetting, what's the guy's name? Dominique Morgan. My God, today. Okay. Why do all that, Christy? What was the reason? I had some extra things that I did while I was there for sure. But did I execute the 2 goals? I did. And I remember when I finished executing the second plan, I said, everything else that happens while I'm here is now gravy. But there was a plan. I'm not going to spend money in business if there is no plan. Okay. Have I really gotten that point across, guys? Now, it isn't to say that 100% of the things that I've done had a plan. No, I would say probably about 95%. When you are the investor in your business, you get to a point where you really need a return on investment for the things that you're putting in. You worked for that money. So what is the return that I'm expecting from this money? We have to think about this. Okay. All right. Next old thought. Oh, baby, this one stuck out to me. Old thought. I am not a numbers person. We love to say that. I'm not a numbers person. I'm not a marketing person. I'm not a sales person. Girl, you a business person. So the new thought is you are a business owner. It is your job. You are a business owner. It is your job. This is what we mean when we say we need to take we need to have radical clarity and responsibility for ourselves. Oh, the web designer dropped the ball. Who hired the web designer? Oh, the conference that I went to didn't deliver, XYZ that I thought it was going to deliver. Okay, they had T-Pain on the flyer. What about T-Pain being on the flyer made you think about business? Now, keep in mind, I am a T-Pain fan. I love T-Pain. That boy is talented. He can sing. I love T-Pain. T-Pain don't have nothing to do with Christy and her business, though. I putting T-Pain on the flyer gonna make me say, oh, okay, then. That ain't for me. That's not a selling point for me. Do y'all understand that? We are quick to say, I'm not a numbers person. I'm not a marketing person. I'm not a sales person. Girl, you are a business person. You are the business owner. It is your job. Write that down. It is my job. Touch and agree. Old thought number 4, asking for what I'm worth makes me difficult. Y'all, I would have nothing in life if I didn't ask for what I was worth. Nothing. Nothing. Literally nothing. Okay? We got to get there. The new thought, you cannot build wealth while discounting yourself. Your price is a business decision, not a personality trait. Y'all, we're too early for the doors of the church to stand open. But I need you to hear that again, okay? The new thought is you cannot build wealth while discounting yourself. Your price is a business decision, not a personality trait. I'm not the cheapest option. I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to be the bargain price. I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to deliver to you what I said. Do you guys know sometimes when I see like some of these retreats and they get all this really bad press, right? They didn't deliver what they said. I can immediately tell sometimes why they didn't deliver. Sometimes it's just pure triflings, absolutely triflings. Let me turn this volume up. Sometimes it's straight trifling, y'all. Sometimes I can tell that they flat out couldn't deliver what they said on the website because they didn't charge enough. I remember one of the last ones that I saw that dropped the ball with her retreat. I go to the website and I look and I show Kevin, look how much she was charging. He's been with me through all 12 of my retreats. He already knows. He was like, how she was going to do that? How is she going to move them around and with the price being, I don't know. She didn't charge enough. I'm not trying to be the most affordable option. Affordable is relative. I'm trying to be the best option. And when you're ready, come on. If you're not ready right now, fine. I found that ready is a lot of times your state of mind. You can get the money. We get the money all the time. All the time. I've had some clients get some money in the last couple of weeks. Not even to pay me. They had already paid me. It was for something else. We found that money. We found it. If you're committed enough, we will get the money. The money, we will get it. Old thought number 5. I need more followers before I can make real money. Okay. The social media era handed women a lie that visibility equals viability. We have all seen people with 1 million followers who couldn't sell 13 t-shirts. Well, when they had him on the flyer, it was to perform a concert. It wasn't on a business panel, just FYI. They had him on the flyer to sing for a business conference. Old thought number 6. Oh, wait, I didn't finish old thought number 5. The new thought is a profitable business is built on margin, not metrics. Followers don't pay your bills, clients do. You will have people all day telling you, oh yeah, girl, I'm gonna buy XYZ. Put it on pre-sale. Let's see right quick. You will see real quick. That's just followers. That's social media talk. That has nothing to do with anything. Real buyers pull out their wallet. Okay. Real buyers pull out their wallet. Oh, girl, if that would have been 2 Thursdays from next Saturday, I'd have been able to go. Oh, you know what it is? 2 Thursdays from next Saturday. Then she gonna come up with something else. I have been doing this for 16 years. I'm telling you, real buyers pull out their wallet. Everybody else is just talking. Okay. Old thought number 6. This is the last one. I failed, so I'm not cut out for this business. And she said women collapse their identity into their business outcomes. A bad launch, a slow year, a business that didn't work. I posted about us closing our trucking business in 2023. And I think that our mindset is really small sometimes. I didn't say, and I explained it, but I realized because of some people's DMs and comments that they didn't read it. Because you close something doesn't mean you close it at a loss. Sometimes you close things at the right time and you're able to get out of it while you're still profitable. But you see, and you're reading the tea leaves and you see where things are going. We were able to get out of it, sell all of our trucks, sell all of our trailers, because that's 2 different parts. We were able to get out of it before it was a loss. Had we waited 1 more year, had we stayed in the business 1 more year, that wouldn't be the story. The story would have been loss. Okay. Now, does that mean it's a failure? Absolutely not. I consider it to be a success. We got out of that with still profit. We got out of that while we saw the storm coming. We were able to go into another business. Does that make sense, ladies? You're going to have different projects that you do. You're going to have different, maybe even businesses that you do where that particular thing didn't work out, right? I had an old client who created a lot of products, and some products were such stars. Some products were absolute dogs. Like they couldn't have flopped harder if we'd have tried. Okay, we couldn't give it away. Okay. Does that mean that the business was not a success? It was a success. It was a real success. It's still a success, still open. Right? Okay. I wanted to point out that the biggest sections in the book are about these 4 topics. Okay. The biggest sections in the book are on money, career, family, and building your brand. Money, career, family, and building your brand. Now, I'm going to skip around a little bit and I'm going to talk about money now. Now, if you are a person that needs, like, okay, what page is that on? Let me give it to you. Money is on page 75. Money is on page 75. Okay. I want to give you a couple of thoughts about money. Okay. Make a new section in your notebook. I want to drop a couple of quotes on you from my lovely friend, Dr. Lorraine Josephs. And she says, we need money to do the good that we want to do in the world. Okay. She says, the evil have money to put behind their causes. The evil have money to put behind their causes. She didn't even say that to me. She said it to Janae. And Janae said it to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, pause. Because when we think about it, the evil do have money. Right? Let me say those again. We need money to do the good in the world that we want to do. The evil have the money to put behind their causes. Let me point out something else that gets us shook up, but let's talk about it. I want y'all to finish my sentence in the chat. Finish my sentence in the chat. Money is the root. Finish my sentence in the chat. Money is the root. Finish my sentence. Money is the root of all evil, huh? Guess what? We have been floating around that Bible verse wrong. We have been floating around that Bible verse wrong. Let me give you the Bible verse. For the love of money is the root of all evil. Key word here, love. How could the same Bible that wants you to be rich and prosperous and have access to all the good things tell you that money is bad when you need money for those things? The love of money. For the love of money is the root of all evil. Do you see the difference? We have been walking around acting like money in and of itself is bad. Exactly. Janae pointed out something very important. People don't read the Bible. They just repeat sayings. We repeat what the pastor said. Now, the pastor, he's trying to get his money, ain't he? The pastor is getting his money. We're going to spend a little bit of time here, y'all, because it's one of the big points in the book. Another thing that she said, Emma said, that reminded me so much of something that Dr. Loran also says. You can do meaningful work and still make a lot of money. It's not one or the other. Let's say that again. You can do meaningful work and still make a lot of money. It is not one or the other. I am so moved by this because of how many women I have worked with in the last 16 years. Let's get into this, y'all. This one has a lot of notes. All right. Working with women 16 years, I can tell you that so many women are ashamed to say that they want to make a lot of money. Period. They are ashamed to say they want to make a lot of money. They are ashamed to say that they want to be wealthy. They are ashamed to say that they want more than they currently have. Period. It doesn't matter how many quotes they share online. I'm telling you, when they get in private and they are working on their businesses, they are ashamed to say that they want more than they have. They'll start self-sabotaging before they go out and get the money. It is so deeply rooted in us that we should not be looking for money. Now, don't quote me verbatim, but do y'all remember when Oprah found out that her associate was making more money than her and they did the exact same job? This has been 100 years ago. I think she was making like 30,000 and he was making 50,000. And so she went to her boss and she was like, "We do the exact same job. Why shouldn't I make the 50,000?" And the boss was like, "Well, he has a family and a wife and children. What would you do with the 50,000?" Boy, that stuck out to me. What would you do with it? It ain't none of your business. That's why I remember that story. I'm like, wow. Oh. Now keep in mind, how old is Oprah? Maybe 70? I don't know. So keep in mind the times of her saying that, of just kind of even going to ask for it, what that must have felt like. The fact that women struggle so much with money shows up directly in how we build businesses, right? I was talking to a client the other day, and we more so think about hustling and bootstrapping our way into business. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of times we have to do that. But men will think about starting a business and immediately start thinking about funding. Immediately started thinking about how they're going to pitch somebody to get their money for the business. And we start thinking about scraping together pennies. Our first thought when we want to think about starting a business isn't pitching somebody for 100,000, 500,000, $1 million. We've already told ourselves no, right? We've already told ourselves no, that we can't have it, we won't get it, and we'll just scrape it together. We'll hustle it. That's a way. Sometimes it might be the only way. I just want to give an option in the case that it's not the only way for you. Does this make sense, ladies? Let's continue. Women build businesses designed to fulfill a purpose, but not designed to pay them. Let that rest on your spirit for a little bit. Women build businesses designed to fulfill a purpose, but not designed to pay them. I cannot tell you how many women I have talked to in 16 years where they have the business idea, right? They have the aesthetics of it. The aesthetics of it, how it's going to look. They have figured out everything about that business but the money. And I'm sitting here like, okay, I see. Now, how's it going to make money? How will this business make money? And we sitting here looking at each other. It's never been considered. Men don't do this. Men do not do this. They do not do this. They do not do this. We have to start thinking differently. And what I mean by that is, let's say our passion is giving back to homeless women. That is one of my passions. I volunteered for Dress for Success for 12 years. Okay. One of my passions. Why do I need to try to turn my passion into a business? I can't tell you how many people come and they have a business, and the business's client or intended client is someone who wouldn't in 1,000 years have the funds to pay you. Why don't we go and create a business, an actual business with something that has profit potential, and then give back to the thing we have the passion about? I remember when I first started consulting, when I first started Women's CEO Project, one of my first clients, I think I met her through Dress for Success. I'm trying to remember. Let's go to what she wanted to do. Oh, it was through Dress for Success. She wanted to start a business, and the woman that she wanted to go after was the woman who has just escaped homelessness. She wanted to go after women who had recently escaped homelessness. And the first thing I said was, does your product cost money? Yeah. I'm already seeing the disconnect. Okay, continue. How much does your product cost? $500. Okay, cool. You tell me this is your passion because you yourself escaped homelessness. I said, when you had escaped homelessness, did you have a spare disposable $500 that you didn't need to spend on rent, food, your children, a car? Did you have a disposable $500? I immediately saw her thought bubble above her head. I saw it. And the way she kind of looked at me like, well, I be damned. Well, here you over here talking about logic, Christy. Here you over here being practical, and I'm just following my passion, girl. That's why we broke. If I can't find the money in your idea, let's just call it a hobby. Let's call it a give back. But for God's sakes, let's not call it a business. A business makes money. A business makes money. Something else I want to point out. These are some things that I have found that women are scared to say. They're ashamed to say these things. They're ashamed to say they want to make a lot of money. They're ashamed to say they want to be very rich. They're ashamed to say they want more than they currently have. Let me tell you about an attendee to my second Global Power Tour. Many of you know I just completed my 30-city Global Power Tour. I finished it in January. This was number 2, y'all. Number 2, which was 9 years ago. Do you know why I remember this girl? What she said to me stood out so much. Early on in the first Global Power Tours and with my clients, I would ask them how much they wanted to make in the next 12 months. I was accustomed to getting tears from that question. Not from everyone, of course, but from some people, yes. I was accustomed to getting tears. Because for some women, as soon as I would bring up money, they would literally start crying. I'm at this point 7 years in business. I've seen this multiple times. As soon as I start talking about money, she starts to cry. And even though I was accustomed to that, I had not, this is only number 2 for Global Power Tour. And so when I asked the audience this is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This was a smaller group. Y'all know the Global Power Tours in Houston would be larger, but the individual cities, other cities would be smaller. So this is Baton Rouge, just like 25 women, something like that. She's in the back. And when I ask her that, she starts to cry. And I'm talking about not a teardrop. I'm talking about a boohoo cry. Boohoo serious cry to where we need to pause. We're all in the room. It's okay. I stop and I go over to her and I just kind of put my arm around her and I'm just kind of rubbing her shoulder. She's sitting down. And I said, once she kind of got to where she could talk, I was like, so what about what I said made you cry? I have to know. And she said that she felt that if she put out a number, she felt like it would be telling God that she wasn't grateful for what she had. I remember I've been doing this, like I said, long time. And I'm the type of person that I can bounce back while I'm speaking from almost any comment. Almost any comment. That one took me back. So I was like, I don't even know how to touch this. I don't know how to address this. I don't know what to say to this. I don't want to touch your relationship with God. But what about your relationship with God told you that if you said you needed or you wanted X, like if you told God you wanted a house, does that mean you do not appreciate the apartment you live in right now? Is that what that means? Right? How did the church get that into our skulls this heavy? How? Let me go back to another note, still about money. I broke the book down into 4 parts because I'm like, okay, how can I just kind of give you sections of the book? These are the 4 sections. Part 1 is the mindset architecture. Know yourself. Working with so many entrepreneurs, I feel like so many women get into business and they don't know themselves. They don't know their value. They can't articulate, communicate, or present their skill set. And if you can't articulate your skill set, people aren't going to feel comfortable paying you the money that you say. You feel you're shaky articulating your skill set. Okay. Before you can really launch a successful business, you need to know yourself. You need to know your obstacles. You need to know where your mindset needs stretching, where you need help. I have said this for years that so many of the women that I work with either needed a therapist before they started working with me or while they were working with me. Because it doesn't matter what I'm teaching you in our sessions. It doesn't matter if I give you, the recipe to Coke. If your mindset and your 3rd grade teacher have made you believe that you can never do it, then that's what it is. Has nothing to do with my coaching. It has nothing to do with your skills. It has everything to do with where you're stuck mentally. Y'all understand me? I have watched women self sabotage. I have watched women self sabotage because not because they lacked information, sometimes not even because they lack the resources. They have self sabotage because their mindset, somebody got there first and someone made them believe X about themselves and they cannot get away from that thought. Period. We have to get to the root of why so many women are scared of failing. And when I say scared of failing, I mean scared to the level to which you won't move your feet. Everybody experiences fear. I know I do. But I still move forward. That's one thing about me. I'll feel it. I might be shaking. I might be grinding my teeth, but we still moving forward now. Every time I sign a contract for Global Power Tour, I would be scared. Yes, immobilized. Every time I would sign a contract for the retreat location, I would be scared. Because they don't care if you fill it up or not. They don't care if you sell slots or not. You have promised to pay them X amount of dollars and they want their money. We have to understand, why are we so scared of failing that it keeps us from moving? You have to get to the root of this, or it doesn't matter what you learn. You are not going to watch and read your way to confidence. You are not going to watch enough videos or read enough books to where you feel confident. Your confidence is going to come from movement. It's going to come from taking action. I've told you guys for years that I have the benefit of wisdom. Okay. What I mean by that is I have the benefit of having done things before and they have worked out. That's what I mean by the benefit of wisdom. Not like, oh, I'm wiser than you. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, I've had the benefit of knowing it's going to work out like it did last time, like it did for the 10th time, like it did the 20th time. It's going to work out the 21st time too. I have the benefit of wisdom from past data. Past data. Does this make sense, ladies? I would consider your mindset architecture and knowing yourself to be part one of the book. Part two of the book, I would consider to be the CEO identity. Okay. About leading yourself and really stepping into that CEO role. For the last, 3 global power tours, I have spent time talking about you going more into your CEO role, because I've found that so many people have that title on their card. They have that title in their profile picture, in their profile on socials, but you don't have that title anywhere else. Your decision making makes you the CEO. Your decision making makes you the CEO. If you cannot make a decision, if you're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you cannot make a decision. Year after year after year after year after year after year after year, you are mulling over the same things. You take your journal entry from 2015, you still bring your journal entry from 2015 into 2026 because you never made a final decision over it and you still haven't done it. But you're still talking about it. We said we was going to stop talking about stuff. If you ain't going to do it, stop talking about it, girl. You could be quiet for free. It's always an option. You can shut up for free. If you've been talking about the same thing for 10 years and you still haven't done it, let me bless you and just tell you, girl, go ahead and be quiet about it. You're not about to do it. At least be gracious enough not to wear out and waste the time of the people around you if you're not going to do it. You are a CEO if you know how to make decisions. Your decision making makes you a CEO. I have found that so many women are scared to be wrong. We have set up these mountain sized monsters of all these things that are going to happen to us, and the level of embarrassment that we will feel if we make a wrong decision. Have you even articulated your monster? I said this to the ladies in LA. I said, your monster, have you described it? Can you tell me about your monster? Can you describe to me all of the horrible things that will happen to you if your idea is the wrong idea? If you make a decision and it happens to not be the right decision, sometimes we set up this monster and you can't even describe it to me. You can be the founder and not be the right CEO. I have had clients like this. They were the founder and they needed to work on a different part of the business and hire a CEO because they made decisions based off emotion and not the numbers. What is the number one goal of the CEO? Tell me in the chat. What is the number one goal of the CEO? What is the number one goal of the CEO? Exactly, Miss Pat. What is the number one goal of a CEO? All right, Janae. Janae said, go get the money. Make the business profitable. Y'all hitting it. Yes. Yes. Lead the direction of the business. Go get the money. Make the business profitable. Heavy on the money. So if you won't ask for the money, if you can't articulate your value for the money, how the money gonna come in? Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me in the chat. You don't want to make sales. You don't want to articulate your value. You don't want to pitch your business. How you gonna make money? Somebody tell me in the chat. I'm confused. Emma says she does feel fear, but she says that fear is not a business strategy. A bar. Fear is not a business strategy. Being an introvert is not a business strategy. Being an introvert does not help me run Women CEO Project. I am an introvert, and any opportunity that I can get to not have to talk to people, I take it. Any opportunity that I get to not have to people, I take it. What does it have to do with me being the CEO of Women CEO Project? One of them gonna win. I got to run this business. So I got to figure out ways to get me out of being an introvert, at least for the event. Does this make sense, ladies? Let me know if I'm making sense. Emma says that people pleasing is incompatible with leadership. People pleasing is incompatible with leadership. Every decision you make to keep the peace costs you somewhere in business. Let's say that again. Every decision you make to keep the peace costs you somewhere in business. We're still under section 2. I broke the book down into sections. The next one, stop performing the business and start running it. Stop performing the business and start running it. Y'all, let's break this down. There's a version of entrepreneurship that looks incredible on the outside. The aesthetic, the brand, the events, the presence, and it's hemorrhaging money on the inside. Y'all, I remember I was working on the Power Retreat. I think it was in South Africa. And this was like my third one, second or third one. No, it was my second one. I'm working on the second Power Retreat in South Africa. Not my second retreat, the second Power Retreat in South Africa. And I was sitting there debating on the things that I was going to do for decor and for the experience. And at some point, I had to stop. And I said, Christy, you are not hosting a wedding. You have to find the balance between beautiful and still have an ROI. I had to catch myself, y'all, because I got wrapped into, for a moment, the beautification of the experience. And I had to stop myself. Christy, what's the return on investment for that? Stop performing the business and start running it. There is a version of entrepreneurship that looks incredible on the outside. The aesthetic, the brand, the events, the presence, and it's hemorrhaging money inside. Emma points this out in the book specifically, okay? The CEO is not concerned with how the business looks. The CEO is concerned with how the business performs. Now, I want to ask you something. Are you running a business or are you starring in it? Are you running a business or are you starring in your business? For some of you, if we just look at your Instagram posts, it for you, by you. No one can go to your page and figure out what's in it for them. It's all about you, girl. Now, your stories are the more personal part of your business. That is where you kind of relate. That's where you kind of show more personal things. This is the question you want to ask yourself. Are you running your business or are you starring in it? The third part of the book is the money and business intelligence. It is about how do you fund yourself. If you have the book already, I would start to really read that section. How do you fund yourself? That is a huge section that goes from page 76 to 99. 76 to 99. Y'all want to go on and knock that out. Financial literacy is a non-negotiable as a business owner. She talks about that in the book. You don't get to skip out on that part. Oh, I'm not good with numbers, like we said, right? Okay. The IRS gonna make you good with the numbers. When you run out of money, you about to figure out them numbers. If you want to stay in business, if you want to prosper in business, you have to adopt the skill set of being good with numbers. And you have to tell yourself something, CEOs. I want you to get into the habit of telling yourself something. Write this down. Get into the habit of telling yourself this. I can learn anything. One of them missing scientists. Y'all know we got all these missing scientists. I saw a video of her And what she said stood out to me so much. She was like, I can learn anything. I was like, a bar, sis. Write this in my journal. She said, I can learn anything. That's the mindset you have to take. I can learn anything. You may not be good with numbers today, but you can become good with numbers. You may not be good with marketing today, but you can become good with marketing. I sat here and learned how to live stream through my Osmo this morning. I can live stream through my Osmo this morning. The only reason I'm not doing it is because I wanted a clear video on my Osmo that I'm going to use. But I mean, this video looks kind of, it looks clear enough through my webcam. But I could live stream through my Osmo. I literally learned it this morning. Write this down. I can learn anything. She says financial literacy is a non-negotiable. Walking into capital raises prepared. Understand what investors actually expect. Know your numbers cold. This is a profit first philosophy. Did you guys see that I hosted a founder breakfast in Cali week before last? While I was there for Canva Create, I hosted a founder breakfast. And the whole theme of the breakfast was funding. How do we find the funding for our business? I'm hosting the same breakfast here in Houston, May 28th. May 28th, I'm hosting the exact same breakfast because we have to talk about funding. We have to know our businesses in and out, back and forth. You may not know right now how to read a P&L statement, but you can learn. You may not know right now how to read a P&L statement, but you can learn. Part 4 of the book is the power and ambition. Power and ambition. She says, nobody is coming to hand you power. I felt that. Nobody is coming. Wait, let me go back. I scrolled up. Nobody is coming to hand you power. Honey, that's it right there. Nobody is coming to hand you power. You have to take it. Ambition is not a dirty word. Wanting wealth, influence, and a seat at the table is not selfish. It is the whole point. We talk about having a seat at the table all the time. How are you going to have a seat at the table if you don't even want to talk about money? How she talks about in the book, this is early on in the book, like chapter, I think it's chapter 1, it's after the introduction. She talks about the habit that she had of always going into situations looking for a boss. Looking for a boss because she was so used to having a boss. And she said her husband brought it to her attention that you don't need to go looking for a boss at all times. Sometimes you the boss. But she said that she felt like sometimes we go and we're always looking for a boss because we need someone to blame. We need someone to, well, it didn't work out. The boss said, under the boss's leadership. I liken this to something that I've been telling you all for years about waiting for permission. We actively wait for permission when we will sit there and say, God gave us the idea. God gave me the vision. And then you wait. And while you're waiting, you check the temperature of everyone around you to see if you need to do an idea. Now, what's going to happen when you ask 10 different people if you should do something? Somebody tell me in the chat. What happens when you ask 10 different people if you should do something? Somebody tell me. That's it, Leah. Leah said you're going to get 10 different answers and be still confused. Absolutely. You might have one or two people that you bounce ideas off of, business ideas, whose opinions and thoughts you respect, and you need to leave it there. Exactly, Tatia. You need to leave it there. Continuing with the money, I want to point out a couple more things before I leave the money. She starts off by saying, "You get in life what you have the courage to ask for." And that's a quote from Oprah. She goes on to say, I want you to hear me out. Hear this. This stood out to me. I've wanted to have public conversations with other women about money, but I've had a really hard time getting any of my female guests, many of whom are titans in their respective fields, to speak candidly with me about the subject. Whenever I ask about capital raises, compensation, and cap tables, they demur and deflect. Meanwhile, when I drilled Michael Rubin, founder of Fanatics, a $30 billion business, with money questions, he answered them all to a one all with glee. No shame, no anxiety, no fear, and no judgment. I remember listening to one of her podcasts. I was watching it. And the woman that she was interviewing, her entire platform is about money. Let me break this down. Emma is interviewing her guest. Her guest business and entire platform is about money. Emma asked her how much she paid herself. She didn't want to answer. She dodged that. She asked her about startup money. She dodged that. I remember thinking, these are very obvious dodges. I remember I was watching it while I was cooking. So I'm kind of going back and forth. I remember kind of going back thinking, let me see this. Let me see how this looks. She just answered something else. And I'm thinking, your whole platform is to get women more comfortable with money. And you dodge some very important money questions. Why? She said it's very difficult to get even women on her show to talk about money. She says money is not bad or unspiritual. It's foundational. It's foundational. Let me go back to Dr. Loren. We need money to do the good that we want to do in the world. It's so important. How are you going to do all the good you want to do? How are you going to help the people that you want to help? You need money. Another old thought: nice girls don't speak about money publicly or think about it. She says, many of us, most of us likely have a somewhat distorted relationship with money based on our family of origin. And that stuck out to me. Let me tell you why. It is so true. I am from Louisiana, and I'm not from the country. My parents are from the country. My mother is from Opelousas, Louisiana. My dad is from Bastrop, Louisiana. And they have very interesting thoughts about money. Now, I will say that my mom is a pretty good money manager. I would have to give it to her, especially with where she came from and what they had to work with. My mother was a pretty good money manager. My parents retired at 58 and 59. They are 75 and 76 right now. They've been retired almost 20 years. I didn't even realize that until I'm saying out loud. They've been retired for a long time. Okay. They planned for their retirement very well. My mother. Now, you would think that people that, well, my mother being that good with money, that she would have passed down at least what she knew about money to her two children, correct? I can tell you with her talking about the fact that most of us likely have a somewhat distorted relationship with money based on our family of origin and lived history, that struck out to me because my parents did not believe in talking to children about money. Money was considered, and these are exact words, money is grown folks' business. My parents have had perfect credit my whole life. Whatever the highest credit score is, that's what they have my whole life. Again, my mother was a good money manager. We've never had a conversation about credit, debt, other than credit cards are bad. And most of us have gotten that talking point. Credit cards are bad. Don't get them. And if you're on my newsletter list on Substack, I have told you how I have leveraged my Platinum Amex to the nth degree and how much it's helped me in business. But I had to teach myself. I had to read. I had to watch YouTube videos. I didn't have, even though I had a parent who was a decent money manager and my parents have perfect credit. They never told us anything about credit other than it was bad. Don't get it. You have to unlock and release what your family has taught you about money. I am even still working on that myself. When I talk to clients and we really dig in, and I'm not a therapist, y'all, not even close, but I've learned some things over the year. I've learned some questions to ask. So much of our block with money and asking for money and getting the money that we deserve has to do with the way we were raised. That's why when she wrote that, it stuck out to me. I remember when I was 23, I was working at the bank here in Houston. I was working at Zales part-time, and I was also working at the spa part-time. Have y'all added that up? How many jobs that is? Have y'all added that up? I worked from 8:15 to 4:15 every day, Monday through Friday at the bank. I worked weekends and one day through the week. I worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and one other day through the week at Zales. I worked 2 days a week at the spa. 3 jobs. Okay. I wanted to get a new car. I planned all year to get that new car. I saved my entire income tax. That was probably the last time I got a return. I saved my entire income tax and I was working all those jobs to save up to put down a chunk on a new car. The first car that Christy bought, the first car I bought myself was a BMW, a 325i. The very first car I bought myself was a BMW. I remember when I first saw a BMW, I was like, oh, okay, guys, that's obviously what you want me to have. Okay. I fell in love. I love BMWs. And so that's not on our topic today. I got so many other things to discuss today. But if you're on my newsletter list, I broke it down completely. So consider subscribing to my Substack, okay? So I saved up the money for the down payment. I looked for a car for 6 months. My boyfriend at the time and I would go to CarMax when it was closed. I wanted to go when it was closed because I didn't want to be hassled by the salesperson. We would go when it's closed, and you could go out there and walk the parking lot and see what they had. I found a car, but this is after 6 months of looking. I bought the car. I got a loan from the credit union and I put a big chunk down. I was so excited. I came home, showed my parents my car. Do you know what my dad said? I can never forget. My dad said, "Are you selling drugs?" I have purchased a used BMW that had about 22,000 miles on it. I have saved up for over a year working 3 jobs. Everybody knew I had 3 jobs. My whole family knew I had 3 jobs. I was always working. And that's what my dad said. When they came outside, he was like, "What, you selling drugs?" What's that meme with the guy? Cut. I was so hurt. My feelings were so hurt. I was like, but let me break this down. I started with where my family came from, correct? In their mind, some of the things, Christy, who I don't even get driving tickets uh with the car. I've never gotten a speeding ticket in my life. I've never been in trouble in my entire life. I'm like, the insult. And I remember when he saw the look on my face and the disappointment. I ended up not even staying. I had driven 4 hours to go and stay there for the weekend. And I came back to Houston because I was like, okay, I'm just going to have dinner. I'm going to come back. That's why I brought up where they were from, their mindset. You don't talk to kids about money. And with their generation, you live for only 10 years of life. You retire at 60 and you live between 60 and 70. That is when you get the Lexus. I remember it would always be a Lexus. That's when you get the Lexus. That is when you go on the cruises. That is when you live life in that little time. Getting a BMW at 23 was not done unless you were doing something wrong. He apologized for it later. But then guess what happened? 10 years later, might have been almost exactly 10 years, I bought a Porsche. And guess what was said then? My dumb behind drove home and showed it again. My dad. You robbed a bank. I said, you know what? I won't be showing anything else. I cannot let, and the thing is, I put a video up the other day and I said my dad is a bull crapper. And really what I wanted to say, my dad, and so, but every now and then he'd drop a good word on me. So I had to figure out in my brain how to not let that be a period or like a stain. And to just from then on understand the vision that I had for my life was very different from what my parents think is possible at particular ages. And I really had to just come to that. And I give you guys that very personal example. I don't know if I've said that on any videos, but I give those examples because of number one, how much it hurt. Number two, they've been so long ago, but they stuck. Number three, we all have different situations or periods in our life that started to shape the way we felt and dealt with money. Make sense? the way we dealt with money and the way we felt about money. I've had 3 Range Rovers since. 3. And earlier this morning, the lady messaged that my 4th one had made it into Houston. They ain't never asked me how I got a Range Rover. You know why? Somebody want to guess why? Somebody want to guess? Because there's a husband around. All right, guys. I'm going to take a 2-second break and run to the restroom. And then we're going to talk about trade-offs, which was another huge point of the book. Okay? I'm literally saying 2 seconds. I'm going to run to the restroom. I'll be right back. All right. Y'all are right. Married. Their generation just never saw anything like that. It's more common than you think. I believe you. And let me turn my camera around. My camera is like, where's the face? You left. Here we go. There we go. Y'all, I had to figure out a way to get past that. Right? As someone who has built her business from her home, what do you think about her thoughts on working from home being career suicide? Well, Andy, I said I wasn't going to touch on career because that's not my lane. But let me give you a quick opinion about that. In my opinion, I think she's talking to her employees. I think that was a subtle statement to her employees. Her hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of employees that she said that she had on all them interviews. I think she's talking to them. I think that if you show up and you're not working from home and you're working in the office, because these are Black and brown people on this live stream, will that get you to the C-suite? No. Lies from the pits of hell. No. Will there be a few people who make it there? Yes. But generally, absolutely not. The way you're going to get to the C-suite is by creating it. It's more likely you have a better chance of winning the lottery. Okay? It's more likely that you will get to the C-suite if you create it. No matter how much you show up at work, no matter if you make sure you've been seen, you go to all the after work events. They're going to pass your brown behind up and get who they want to get. Anyway, we have seen it time. How many educated, qualified, overqualified, overeducated Black women have we seen passed up who should be in the C-suite? Shoot, it should be a Black woman president right now. You think proximity is the reason you aren't in the C-suite? You think it's because you ain't seen enough? Girl, stay home, work from home. Work from home and keep your peace of mind. I think that that particular statement was to her employees. That's my opinion. I don't work in corporate. I've had very little um I've had very little experience in corporate. Like I said, if I add up when I worked in financial sales, when I worked as a headhunter, and when I worked at as a marketing manager, that's a little bit less than 3 years. That's all I got. You're gonna have to create your own C-suite. I remember one of the times we were flying for one of my retreats, and we're flying business class. No, everybody is not Melanie Hobson. Exactly. And she works at a Black owned company. I love Melanie Hobson. That's the next breakdown, y'all. We were flying and we were in business class, and then we checked into this really nice hotel. And my husband was like, "Who's the first person that sent you on a business trip?" I said, "Christy." The first person who sent me on a business trip is myself. I have been sent on a business trip before. When I was the marketing manager at Reliant, yeah. But I beat that. And I flew myself business. And I've put myself in a 5-star hotel. The C-suite might be the one you create. Okay? So to answer that question clearly, do I think if you keep showing up to the job and you have proximity and all of that, will that get you to the C-suite? Hell no. 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 It will, a couple people will get there. Everybody got that? That's my opinion. Now, let's talk about trade-offs. That was another big section of the book. Important section of the book. Let me tell you the page. It was so important. And it is page 53. 53 is trade-offs. We got to talk about trade-offs. Y'all, are y'all good? We easily, an hour and 41 minutes is gone. I'm going to probably go about another 30 minutes. That's it. Are y'all learning a lot? Does it feel like you're getting the gist of the book? Let me know. Does it feel like you're getting the gist of the book? So trade-offs is on page 53. I wrote so much in this book, y'all. Oh, thank you, Dr. Michelle. I appreciate it. Okay, good. All right, y'all. Y'all showed up. Y'all showed up to the live. I appreciate you. So I will continue to do these. Okay? Because, when you're reading something in a way where you want to break it down and deliver it to someone else, oh, I got this book, baby. I broke this down, honey. This got broken down. Okay? I can tell Emma about her book. I can tell Emma about her book. Okay? So I got more of the book by working on it for you all. Okay? So we will continue to do these if you like them. Okay? All right. So we're talking about trade-offs, page 53 in the book. Whew. I get so many women. Let me say it like this. If I got 20 clients for the month, if I have 20 clients for the month, 26 of them are overworked. 26 of them got too much on their plate. When I start looking at a woman's plate, I'm looking at her like, I don't see that you even have time currently to take a bath twice a week. You have filled every minute of the day, and you're trying to add more. I had a client a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and she thought she wanted to go into coaching. And one thing about me, I put this in a video the other day, is that I'm really direct. My husband tells me, you are literally the only woman I've ever met that's not passive aggressive. And I'm like, I take that as a compliment. He said, every woman I know don't want the direct answer except you. I want the direct answer. And that's what I give. I give you the direct answer. So I'm talking to the client. She's telling me, and she's like, should I do this? I said, no. And she just kind of like, the way she looked at me was like, I said, you paid me to be direct, don't you? I could help you waste your time. I could help you waste your money, which will lead to your frustration. I said, but all the things that you just mentioned to me currently on your schedule, I said, I'm seeing holes in some of the stuff on your schedule. Why would you add something to your plate when you got a schedule that's a bucket full of holes and money just coming out? You haven't plugged the holes in your current businesses. Why do you want to add something else? Working with women for 16 years, I can tell you there is something in our brains, and I think it's conditioning, that if we don't do something right now, we're saying no forever, not no for now. Sometimes you're saying no for now. And one of the things that she said, I call it seasons, she calls it chapters. She says, life is long and you can have chapters. Life is long and you can have chapters. And I sat there and quickly broke down some of my chapters. I call them seasons. This is the season for X. This is the season for Y. This is the season for this. I remember when I first got married, I was waiting for the backlash because I am the child that keeps up with my parents very well. Their doctor's appointments, what they got going on, how they slept last night. Like, I keep up and I talk to my parents every single day. I'm telling you, 5 minutes after I got engaged, I got busy. You women who want to be married and engaged, you're taking on a lot. It has beautiful parts and it's a lovely experience. But do note, you're taking on a lot. I got busier 5 minutes after I said yes. I'm not even exaggerating. Like, within the first week of being engaged, I was like, I am responsible for another human. My gosh. And you might think that as a woman, you're not responsible for another human. Yes, you are, in different ways. He's responsible for you in a way, and you're responsible for him in a particular way. Does that make sense? Yes, and let's not forget motherhood, let alone motherhood. She talks a lot about motherhood in the book. Y'all know that because folks got mad because she said she spent 3 hours with her children a day. Shoot, my mom ain't spent 3 hours with me a day. My mom ain't had that kind of time. Did yours? Who has more than 3 hours to spend with their child a day? The kid in school, right? When are these 3 hours happening? It's funny, when I first bought this house, there were no children in the neighborhood. Like, literally, nobody had kids. But now that it's been 11 years, it's a bunch of little kids. Bunch. Yeah, 3 hours is good, Miss Pat. I'm with you. Like, 3 hours is a lot. Do I get 3 hours with my spouse a day? You know, we're doing stuff. The little kids will be out here. You'll hear them between like 5:30 and 6:30. And they are out here. And even though I don't have children, hearing children laugh and play is soothing. Something about it is like, oh, listen to them. Easter come up when they were hunting for them eggs, y'all. It's like they were having the time of their life. They be out there like 1 hour, 45 minutes to an hour, then you hear no kids. You don't hear one child. Them children back up in the house. They got school the next day or whatever they have. They have 45 minutes to an hour and they're out here living their best lives. They're playing. They got little dogs. They're doing all kinds of stuff. Then they're back in the house. If you have a job, like capitalism, first of all, we live in these United States. Everybody got to work. Everybody probably got to work a bit. Everybody got to compete. We would love to say that one, check can pay for a household. In some houses, but in most, no. It's exactly 3 hours is a lot, especially on a school night. Dinner, homework, bath, and bed. And if you have multiples, talk to him, Mahogany. I'm sitting here like, I don't have children. I have 4 step grandchildren. No, wait, 3. They don't even get out of school till like later. When are them 3? When are you doing these 3 hours? 3 hours of quality time is more than enough. Dinner time, after dinner, before bed. Exactly. I don't know. I didn't really get that one, but I didn't want to touch on it because I don't have children. But I'm just kind of like, okay. But continuing with the trade-offs. One of the things that she said that stood out to me is my ability to anticipate and accept trade-offs is a key part of my success. My ability to both anticipate and accept trade-offs is a key part of my success. I call these unavoidable choices we all make. I'm a gifted operator, but I can't be in 2 places at once. I have this problem with a lot of clients. We have a saying that, I don't know if it's Louisiana or just my family, that you can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. You can only do so much and be in so many places before you die, before your cortisol got your stomach looking like, before you have a heart attack, before you have a nervous breakdown, before you kill your sleep pattern, before you have your immune system so low that if you just go check the mail, you get in a cold. We need to understand. That's why we had to talk about understanding ourselves. I know that there is only so much Christy can do. I have done a lot of things. And when I do a lot of things, number one, I know that there are going to be trade-offs. Okay, that's 1. 2, I know my limitations. If I am trying a new thing here, I am taking away from maybe here, these 2 things, right? I have to be an adult and understand. If I'm getting up to go to the gym I'm getting up at 4:30 in the morning. I did my live stream earlier today. I told you guys I got up at 4:25 this morning. I can't stay up to midnight. That's an absolute trade-off. Did I need to stay up to midnight? I could. I always have work to do. Always. But it makes me work backwards. Okay, Christy, you know that you don't fall asleep immediately, right? The people who can fall asleep immediately, bless your heart. Congratulations. I wish I was. I have to wind down. It takes me 30 to 45 minutes to. So if I know I need to be asleep by minimum 9 o'clock to get up at that time, that means I need to start winding down about 8, which means I need to start doing XYZ. So you see what I mean? I'm working backwards. I know the trade offs. My girlfriends know not to ask me to do anything in the evenings. I ain't coming. I already told you I wasn't coming. You already know my schedule. I love you. I ain't coming. I'm okay with that trade off. Ask me to lunch during the week. That's when you can see Christy. If you want to see me, ask me to go to lunch during the week. The weekends are for my husband and I. We have a very tight schedule. That is the time we can spend together. The evenings, we eat dinner, we go to sleep, we wind down. We might catch a show. I might be able to get out a few conversations before he's right. Don't ask me to do nothing in the evenings. That's Christy's boundary. If that break up our friendship, all right then. I would love you from a distance. You need to know your trade-offs. You need to know that life, your life will have seasons. She calls it chapters. Look at your life. Understand your trade-offs. Does that make sense, ladies? She says you must make the choice, accept the trade-off, and move forward. Or better yet, the other way around, predetermine what the trade-off will be. As Michelle Obama said to me, it's impossible to have it all, so stop with that. And I know Oprah is known for saying you can have it all, just not at the same time, something like that. Life is long and you can have chapters. It's a type of insanity that women are convinced they'll pull this having it all ruse off. Family time, girl. Okay. Let me say that again. It's a type of insanity that women are convinced they'll pull this having it all ruse off. Practically, what does having it all even mean? Have you asked yourself that? And let me ask you something that's gonna make some of y'all mad at me, and that's okay. But let me ask anyway. Did you or do you really want kids? Do you really want kids? Do you really want kids? Or were you raised to believe that you had to have kids? Let me know in the chat. I'm just curious. Let me know in the chat. Just curious. Did you really want to have kids? Or were you raised to believe that you're a woman, you must have kids? I'm asking. Let me know in the chat. Always wanted kids and waged to be married, but I can say I didn't really know what that entailed. I want one, no pressure from my family. I was raised to believe I must have them. I wanted a child. I adopted my son. Okay. Adoption is a beautiful thing. I wanted one. Okay. I was raised to believe that you just had children because you're a woman. That's what you do. I knew and I told my family at 12 years old, I'm not having any children. 14, I'm not having any children. 16, I'm not having any children. 20, not having any children. Y'all got a grandchild. You better love on him. I'm not having any children. One of the best things I ever did for myself, one of the very best things that I ever did for myself was I thought about that for myself. Not what was expected of me, what is the thing to do, not what my family wanted me to do. I was going to be the one with the child. And I knew that. Does Christy want to be called mother? No. No. And as the years go by, I'm so proud of myself for making that decision. I don't consider that to be a trade off because I didn't want to be a mother. The reason I bring it up to you is because so many women come to me and they're exhausted and they love their children. That's not what we're saying. They love their children, but they wish they would have thought about it a little bit harder before. And I think to myself, I'm going to start saying this just to put it on the mind of maybe a young person who they don't really have a desire to have a child, but it's just been marketed to them. It's been told to them that that's what they should do. This is what you do. The world makes you feel like having kids and being married is the cream of the crop, but you have to really want this and be honest with yourself because it's not for everyone. Definitely. My daughter says she's going to be a rich auntie. Me and her both, April. I wanted kids, but knew I wasn't going to be able to stay at home, be a stay at home mom. I knew I was going to need to have something to do or somewhere to go for my own sanity. I hear you. She says under trade-offs, every yes is a no to something else. This is the core of her trade-off argument. Every yes is a no to something else. Women say yes to everything, every opportunity, every request, every idea they generate themselves without accounting for what that yes is costing them on the other side. Time is finite. Gosh. It was so many parts of the book where I was like, does Emma know me? Because, honey, I've been saying this for years. Our time is finite. You can't do everything well. You can do a lot of things piss poor. You can do a lot of things piss poor. Time is finite. Energy is finite. What I've said to you for years is that you're going to dilute your power by splitting up your time in so many different directions. You're going to dilute your power. She says burnout is not a badge. It is a business model failure. Burnout is not a badge. It is a business model failure. Women have been conditioned to wear exhaustion as evidence of their dedication. You know, if you really think about it, a lot of times people are uncomfortable with seeing a woman not be busy and not be moving around. I've had to say myself, uh, I need to look at shoes for some hours. I don't need to be doing something at all times. I do not have to fill every hour of the day with my work. I am not a workhorse. I am not a workhorse nor a no limit soldier. I will not. I refuse to fill every day that I am awake, every minute of every day that I'm awake with work. Emma reframes it completely. Burnout is not proof that you work hard. It's proof that your business is not structured to sustain you. Let me say that again. Burnout is not proof that you work hard. It's proof that your business is not structured to sustain you. In 16 years of working with women, I can tell you that they come to me exhausted, overwhelmed, plates already stacked, and then we supposed to build something? How? How are we supposed to do that? Y'all, we are almost to the end, and I want to make sure that you start getting your questions together. Start getting your questions together. I'll probably do questions for like 10 minutes. Start getting your questions together. Need to turn off my alarm before it messed up the video. There we go. All right. Typically, with a lot of my clients, I'm not even adding anything to their schedule. One of the first things that I got to do is remove something, remove some things. Emma says, you cannot scale what you cannot sustain. You cannot scale what you cannot sustain. Women build businesses that require a version of themselves that cannot exist indefinitely. No systems, no support, no boundaries, no rest. And then they wonder why revenue is inconsistent. She says sustainability is a business strategy, not a self-care conversation. If the business only works when you're running at 100% capacity every single day, the business is not built, it's being held together. Huh. It's a few bars. It's a few bars now. Let me say that again. If the business only works when you're running at 100% capacity every single day, the business is not built, it's being held together. Girl, being held together by bubblegum and tape, okay? Exactly, okay? And thoughts and prayers, okay? Couple more trade-offs. It was a trade-off to build global power to y'all. I invested initially the time, the energy, the money, selling that Porsche that I sold drugs to get. Y'all, let me not say that. No, the Porsche was, did you rob a bank? Yeah, that one. That Porsche. It was a trade-off to make that investment early on, not knowing if it would come back. I made that investment years before it became a 7-figure growth platform. Invested that time and energy before there was a return. The trade-off was the short-term sacrifice for the long-term gain. I'm so glad that I did it. One trade-off that she said nobody talks about is saying no to good clients to make room for the great ones. She says the trap of taking every client who can pay because the money feels necessary. You fall into the trap of taking every client who can pay because the money feels necessary. We've all done that. Girl, what you need? You got a llama business? We gonna put together a business for you to sell llamas. Okay, girl, come on. Come on, girl. And later on, you like, I don't even like llamas. I don't even like the fact that you selling them. Actually, I don't want to do this. I don't want to help you sell llamas. Okay. All right. The last point that I want to make is where she talks about taking the helping hand if you can get it. Whew. Let's take a breather. Taking the helping hand if you can get it. Why do Black women feel like it is a badge of honor to talk about how much we done damn suffered? We ready to suffer. We ready to sing them slow songs. Y'all know how many church songs sound like it's a funeral progression going on? It's like, what? Damn. I came to church to get through the week. I feel like jumping. Damn. Them church songs make you feel like you are on the plantation. Now we know where they came from. They did come from the plantation. They came from working in the fields. Can we get some upbeat? We are so accustomed to the struggle. The struggle is the most comfortable life for us. Yes, we act like it's a badge of honor. I'm giving you some direct examples, y'all. Year one of marriage, we in COVID, we in quarantine, right? And this was the part where I was trying to find a cleaner that would come to the house, because you like, will you come? I'll wear a mask. Like, let's figure this out. I got a big house. And so I remember talking to my parents, and I was telling my mom, because I had cleaned, that I was tired. Like, wow, I'm tired today. Woo, I'm having a tired day. And she was like, you only in year one of marriage. Try 54 years. You tired already? Well, damn. I felt like she was holding back. I'm like, wow, mom. I said, I'm getting that cleaner. I don't feel nothing of it. I if you don't want to get one, I understand. I'm getting the cleaner. Okay. I give you that example because a lot of women are made to feel guilty for getting a nanny, getting someone to clean their house, getting someone to meal prep their food, getting help in any way that they can. I was so glad that she talked about this in the book. We are always ready to feel guilt. Men don't feel this type of guilt. They don't. They are not saddled with the burden of guilt. They can move around and feel, oh, you got it, you got it, and move on, and it's out of their brain. They're not thinking about, ooh, did I leave her with X? No. They are so good at being like, oh, she said she got it. So she got it, right? We're always so ready to feel guilty. And all it can take is a couple words from someone to make you feel guilty. All it can take is for the conditioning and the marketing in our United States of what women should do and should be able to do. And, I tell my husband all the time, because we talk about that 50-50 conversation online, not here, but in online. Yes, I have been teaching y'all for years to delegate. And I'll be like, are these men crazy? How is she supposed to work a job at a capacity to be able to compete? Because for a lot of the corporate jobs right now, you can't just bide your time. You're competing. And it takes a bit of brain power to compete. We don't talk about that very much. People in corporate, they working. It takes some brain power to compete. She got to go to work and have enough brain power to compete at her job to keep it. And then you think that there is some different strand in her DNA that gives her more energy than God gave you. And she is able to come home and do all of the things in the house, cook from scratch, hang from the chandelier with you later on, keep her body at 2% body fat. Am I stupid? Is it me? This sounds like the dumbest thing in the world. You should get help when you can, wherever you can, as many times as you can. And whoever feels a way about it, send them wherever you want to send them. I can tell you, getting comfortable with delegating is another thing that I've done that's good for me. I have a lady coming tomorrow that's going to organize my office. Could I organize my office? Yes. I don't want to, though. I'm going to sit. I already have the chair down there. I'm going to sit and I'm going to point. I don't feel like it. I can't do everything at the same time. We talked about trade offs, right? I worked out this morning. I'm probably going to work out tomorrow morning. Look, after I work out, I want to sleep. I don't go to sleep, but that's how my body feels. Am I going to start picking up all Global Power Tour decor and stage stuff? No. I'm going to let her do it and I'm going to pay her. She loves to organize and she's not doing it for free. I'm paying her. And anybody who has something to say about it, I have a few choice words that I won't say here, and I will send you there. Y'all, you got to get more comfortable with taking what you need and getting help. And I want to talk about something. Let's talk about your husband, if you have one. Let's talk about that for a second. I heard some rhetoric around, oh, well, her husband came with money. I don't know. I didn't know. I've looked it up now. I didn't know. And I'm gonna read you exactly. Let me see, make sure I don't mess up the live stream because I have it up here. Hold on. Hold on, because I want to give it to you exactly. Okay, here it is. Okay. So we are quick to try to discount someone's success. Let's say 20 years ago, someone gave me $15,000 to start my business, and I turned that $15,000 into 30 million. Should we discount the success because someone gave me some startup money? I'm asking. Sometimes we say the dumbest crap in the world. I remember seeing a post and this guy said, I'm paraphrasing, but y'all probably have seen this. He was like, if someone offers you $100,000, don't take it. You want to, be self-made and build it up yourself, something like that. And a person responded and said, never give advice again in your life. Let's discuss like grown women. I know there are a couple of men in here. Let's discuss like grown women. It'll apply to you too, men. If somebody wants to give you money to start your business, girl, you better take that damn money and shut up. Take that money and go and start your business. Your business is valid. In the order of dumb things I've heard in life, we are so quick to discount someone, and it's more so about us. We want to say, "Oh, I can't do it because she got a little, man, she married the boss. She got a little leg up." Let's say you're pretty and someone, you know, gave you an opportunity because you're pretty. And you go in that job and you wear it out and you do a great job. We got to discount that because they gave you an opportunity based off of something that you had. I just don't believe in it. However you feel, cool. I don't believe in it. Now, I did want to know because I thought somebody's going to ask. This is what the information that we have. Do you know I almost left this alone? I was like, I'm not talking about this. It's the last thing that I put on my document because I'm like, let's talk about it. Now, I started off this live stream by saying, I'm not a fan of hardly anybody. Emma, I don't know this woman. Okay. Am I a fan? Seeing how she's launched this book, I'm a fan of that for sure. Seeing how she flipped some money, yeah, I'm a fan of that. Of her personally, I don't know this woman. I was telling you guys this morning, I've been marketing and pushing Build a Story brand for years. Then we find out during the campaign, what? I ain't marketing that guy again. Is the book still good? Yep. It's one of the best marketing books I've ever read. I'm not a fan of him anymore, though. I don't know him personally. I don't know anything about that man. I know nothing about this man. That's a good marketing book, though. I won't be posting it anymore. I won't be marketing it to you anymore. One influencer called Emma Misstep and Fetch It. And I thought, dang, how can you reduce everything this woman accomplished down to that? I'll say this. Take all information that you get in life and filter it. Please. Take all information that you get in life from anyone, even me, and filter it. Building your story brand. I probably got it around here, but I ain't marketing it no more. All right. Did she get the money from her husband? Did she sleep with the boss? None of this matters. I believe in hypergamy. If you don't know what that is, just write it down and look it up. I believe in hypergamy. If you prefer to participate in hypogamy, do that. That's up to you. I believe in hypergamy. If you can get it for your life, do it. You should. Why? What badge of honor do you get that you chose a harder route? You chose to go the hard way. Congratulations, girl. Take all the struggle. Take some of mine. There are other ways. Everybody has different ways that they go about things. I'm not going to discount the entirety of a person from something that I don't know for sure. And even if I did know for sure, girl, go get yours. But that's my mindset. Everybody's different. Okay, I wanted to know if her husband came from money. Let me read to you what it says. This is what we know for certain. And let me say this. Let me say this. The more I live on this earth, the more I realize you don't know what somebody's agreement is. In their household, you don't know what their agreements are, what their trade offs are, or what their sacrifices are. So we should take what benefits us from what they're delivering and spit out the rest. Does that make sense, ladies? We don't know what anybody's setup is, quiet as it's kept. You might think you know. Jens Grede is the Swedish co-founder of Skims and the denim brand Frame. He and Emma are married and they are genuine business partners. The couple co-founded Skims with Kim Kardashian, Safely with Kris Jenner, and most recently Kylie Jenner's Kai brand. Emma dropped out of the London College of Fashion because she couldn't afford the fees. And she started delivering newspapers at 12 and built her first company by 26. Now, if you read in the book, Emma was working for basically like a PR company that did fashion shows, okay? And that taught her a lot about business. Like very early in the book, she talks about leveraging skills, which I took a note from. And this is page 10 and 11. The most notes that I made out of the entire book were on these two pages early in the book. 10 and 11 about leveraging skills. Okay, but we'll get back to that. Let me finish my thought. So after she left this PR company with all that she learned, she started a creative agency. Her husband, he wasn't her husband at the time, he also had a creative agency. Okay. She had a creative agency. He had a creative agency. Somebody tell her in the chat what's going on with the Story Brand book author. So they both had a creative agency. His creative agency acquired her creative agency. They bought her agency. They got married 2 years later. So she got the money from her exit of her creative agency before marriage. Everybody with me? Let me know in the chat that you're still with me. Let me know in the chat if you're still with me. She had a creative agency. Her now husband had a creative agency. His creative agency acquired her creative agency, so she got an exit money. They got married 2 years later. If single women, any single women in the chat, if you meet a man and he's a high net worth individual and you fall in love and he's able to invest in your business, date him, please. I'm trying to figure out how people find fault with that. And I don't cape for nobody. Would I do it if I fell in love with the man who bought my business? Twice on Sunday. Why life got to be hard? Because you're a black woman? Why? Why got to be hard? Can you pick a couple of areas where things are a little easier? Then my last point, well, I'm saying my last point, but another point that I want to make. When you see married women, this piggybacks off that. Stop assuming that because she's married, everything is easier for her and she doesn't have any bills or she doesn't have any money issues because she has a spouse. Y'all, it's some people that started following me after I got married. And some of the things that women said to me, number one, in person, number two, in my DMs, I was like, The assumptions were grand. I had a lot going before I got married. I know, shocking. I had a Porsche, I had a BMW, a 3-car garage, a 4,300 square foot house. I was on my second passport, so I had traveled all over the world. The same bling. You got it, this one and this one. Again, people will find a reason to try to discount what you did on your own. Now, if a man comes and don't nothing change and he don't add nothing to your life, girl, what are we doing? Your life didn't get better at all. What are we doing? I don't believe in struggle love. I don't. I don't know how we got here, but I don't believe in struggle love. I don't believe that your love is more valid because you struggled. That's your choice. Do it if you want to do it. I don't believe your business is more valid if you struggled. You're going to have some areas of struggle. You're going to have some people who make a phone call for you. You're going to have some people who do it. If I refer you some business, you didn't work for it, huh? Because you didn't have to go get that client. I referred it to you. Siobhan, I wish people would just mind their business as well. Mind the business that pays you. Go get the best life that you can go get for yourself. Write that down. Go get the best life that you can get for yourself. Final thoughts of the book. Here are my final thoughts. Before I go to that, she said accepting help is a CEO decision. Accepting help is a CEO decision. That blessed me. Accepting help is a CEO decision. Here's what accepting help could look like in your business right now. Hiring the bookkeeper, getting the virtual assistant, joining the mastermind, hiring the coach. Hire me. Take the investment money. Take the investment money. Get the cleaning lady. Help is not a character flaw. Help is leverage. Write that down. Help is not a character flaw. Help is leverage, and leverage is how you scale. Now the doors of the church stand open. That's it, guys. Read the book. Read the book. No one is your savior. We don't need to look at anyone as the perfect package or as a savior. No one is a savior except your savior. No one is a savior except your savior. I took the parts of her book and the parts of her podcast that will help Christy Lynn Muhammad and that will help you. And that is why I took 15 to 18 hours to put together this for you. We got to stop being so emotional about business. I don't give a damn who she voted for. I don't know. I don't care. That don't have nothing to do with me. Now we got a good idea. What we said about the Obama Foundation. Pretty sure I saw a donation to Kamala. Pretty sure in my research. Oh, Kiki said you don't get an extra cushy seat in heaven just because you tolerated struggle. Sometimes y'all be asking God for help. God send help. You send it back. And that was the help you prayed for. The help you prayed for was that referral. That help you prayed for was that investment. That help you prayed for was that call on your behalf. That help you prayed for is that lady coming to organize my office tomorrow. Ain't nobody my savior except my savior. I don't look at anybody. I'm not a fangirl of nobody, and I don't cape for nobody. But I have learned in my years on this earth, I need to pick up the nuggets when they get put down. And if the nugget is wrapped in paper that I don't like, that's okay. I can still use the nugget. Now, what questions do you have for me, ladies? We'll go about 10 minutes. What questions do you have for me, ladies? Anything? Did you learn a lot today? Did you learn a lot? Did you learn a lot today? Ooh, my little about to die. This little Osmo is hot. Any questions? Have you considered starting an online book club? I have. I have a couple of times, but the people did not participate. That's why I said that this morning. If y'all don't participate, I'm not doing this because it's a lot of time. I do this with the sole purpose of helping you. I don't get what do they call it? Super chats. I don't think I have enough followers or enough watch time. So I knew I was doing this for free. It's specifically for you. And so, yeah, I've thought about it, but I can't invest this type of time if you don't show up, you don't engage. You guys have been so engaging today, so you've given me some hope. I love to read. Y'all know that. Reading has been my coach when I couldn't afford a coach. Reading has been my strategy when I couldn't afford a strategist. I have read my whole life. My sister and I were the people that would read the most books every summer in the library. We were voracious readers. I still am. And I would love to share that with you all because there are so many things that I pick up about business in books. Okay. What other questions do you have, ladies? I've almost talked my voice out. I got a few more listens. More of these. Listen to it while I was working. Thank you, Andy. I love to read and would like to join to give others and gain feedback, especially if it's business book. Yeah, I only read business books. And I remember somebody saying before, you don't read any books for leisure. And I was like, I have literally no desire. I have no desire to read. Like, I can't think of the last book that I read that wasn't business other than Shonda Rhimes' Year of Yes. And I still feel like that Shonda Rhimes' Year of Yes is kind of business related. For me, it was. So, guys, I want you to do this for me. Do this for me. I want you to take a screenshot of me, post it in your stories. Hear me out. Take a screenshot of me, post it in your Instagram stories. I'm about to do it with my book, so hold on. Post it in your stories, tag me, and tag Emma Grede because I want her to come to Houston. Let me see. Should I hold it on this side? Okay. Got a screenshot? Post it in your Instagram stories, tag me, tag Emma Grede. Okay? So no other questions? Everybody good? And guys, I know most people haven't finished reading the book. It just came out. I only finished it so I could talk to you guys about it. I would have taken a little bit more time because I was like, I wanted to kind of read through a couple things, and I was combining that with listening to her interviews. Okay. Let me make sure I've covered everything, and I'll answer a couple more questions. Oh, one of the things I wanted to say to you guys is learn to ask yourself why for things, right? Why am I annoyed by this person? Why am I annoyed by XYZ? What triggers me about X? What triggers me about Y? Sometimes people annoy you, and all they're doing is putting a mirror up to you with what you could be doing with your life. And that's what actually triggers you, because so many parts of business is not only getting to know yourself, but being real with yourself. And sometimes people trigger you for a variety of reasons, but sometimes it's like, man, this chick, it looked like she has a whole team and a whole, set of people working on her press. And I don't have that. And it's annoying to me, right? No, I can't see your question. Post it for me again. And instead of you looking at what a millionaire is doing, take parts of what this person is doing and seeing how can you adapt it on your level. Do you understand what I'm saying? Something that she said in an interview that really stuck out was, women have been conditioned to avoid the behaviors that lead to wealth. Women have been conditioned to avoid the behaviors that lead to wealth. Ooh, that stuck out to me so much. Okay, go on and put your question in there real quick, y'all. Everything about to die and my voice about to go. I got stickies all through here. I think I've said them all to you. Oh, we want an extraordinary life without extraordinary effort. I tell you this all the time. I say it a different way. I've always said to you guys, you want to create a life-changing business, but you want your life to never change. You want your schedule to be the same. You want your Fridays with your girlfriends to be the same. You want your whole entire life to look the same with no complications, no risk on your end, no obstacles, and that doesn't make sense. The breakdown was powerful. I'm just checking my stickies to make sure I went through everything. We talked about that. We covered a lot. One thing that she said, this is in the money section. If you ask for more money, someone will get less. That a lot of times women will think that if I ask for more money, someone's getting less. And that's a scarcity thinking. So last thing I will say, guys, since I don't see any questions, I am having my business breakfast here in Houston. And we're talking all about finding the money for your business. Finding the money for your business, finding the funds for your business. I go through several things. I talk about crypto. I talk about gold. I talk about side gigs. I talk about my American Express, whoever asked that question earlier. I talk about all kinds of things, pitching for bigger business. I talk about the exact ways that I have self-funded Women CEO Project. I talk about a revenue leverage program. Okay. So you should come to the breakfast. It's in Houston, May 28th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. I have 32 seats. While we are at the breakfast, we're talking about funding and this book. We're just talking about the money section of this book at the breakfast, but we're talking about funding and the money section of this book. So I would love to have you. The ticket is in the bio. So if you can't come, buy somebody else a ticket. Buy somebody else a ticket and tell me, Christy, give it away as a gift, and I will do it. I understand everybody may not be able to come to Houston. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. You have given me hope, and I think I will continue to do these as long as you are engaged, okay? Thank you for spending 2 hours and 34 minutes with me, guys. I will see you all soon, okay? Bye.